It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
What the? That I might have heard about.
From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Drussel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. Good evening, everybody. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, Kathy. Kathy, good to see you. Adelita, my co-worker.
Georgina. Cass. Put that thumbs up.
And Aunt Doug Sary's in the house.
Aunt Doug. Jaggy C.
Jaggy C, thank you so much.
Sammy, who I call before every show and tell her I'm nervous.
Why do you do that?
I think it's funny.
It's just a routine, right?
Yeah.
Have you done that every show?
Yep, pretty much.
Wow. That's crazy. And Mr. Greg Henry's in the house. There's no Pamela tonight.
And I'm not wearing shoes today, so if you guys want to comment on that, that's fine.
If you guys knew, if you've been followers of us for a long time, you know Garrett doesn't wear shoes. Yeah. He's a hippie.
Yeah, I hardly wear shoes.
All right, Mel, how you doing? And I just want to, hey, Susie,
Oh, Susie.
$5. Thank you so much.
Hey,
you are awesome.
We're almost to that new chair.
We're getting close to that new chair. Thank you, guys. We appreciate the super chats. Awesome. It really helps us to keep the show going and to keep Garrett seated.
Yes.
So, Garrett, how was your week, man?
It was good. Honestly, I was tracking our last episode quite a bit.
Yeah.
And all the comments and views that thing was getting. So
I've got a surprise for Mona. I don't see her in the house.
Yeah, man, I forgot to remind her.
Yeah, you need to do that.
I need it like right now, probably.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll talk to the people. Because a lot of times I've noticed some people have talked to me and said, hey, man, I'm not getting notifications. Bonnie's one of them. For some reason, she is subscribed to the channel. She's subscribed to Facebook, and she still doesn't get anything on there. So,
you getting hit
holy
up?
Cow.
What's going on, dude?
No, I'm selling a bunch of guitar stuff because, you know, the move, it's just easier to get rid of it.
For sure.
It's so hard, man, moving. You guys, I'll go through boxes to the attic, and I think I need to keep it, and I really don't. But hey, look at there. Georgina.
Oh, what's up?
Woo, Georgina. Awesome. Thank you so much.
We're on tonight.
$5. We are close to that chair.
We are getting there, dude.
Yeah, but I'm buying you like $100 chair.
Yeah, hey, can it?
Because
can it be leather and really tall?
No.
Okay.
It could be like this. I got this
I
one.
like that chair.
Yeah, I got that for about 120.
Awesome, dude.
And yeah, but those little chairs like that, like I got that at a kind of a flea market. No, not a flea market, but
this little guy.
Office building going out of business. And
I kind of like it though. It adds character, I think.
Yeah, but that arm drives me nuts.
What, you mean this arm?
Yeah, the one you pop off all the time. Hey, thanks again, Susie and Georgina. That's awesome of you guys to do that.
Seriously,
really do appreciate it. And it does help, believe it or not. Like I said, even with ink, ink's so damn expensive. It's stupid.
That's why I just memorize everything.
Yes. So, Jaggy, it's good to see you, everybody. Jaggy is in the house. We haven't seen her in a long time.
Very good. And for you, too, because you hit the right button.
Because I usually hit... no bad language.
Or, all right.
All right. We can hit all right.
All right.
I love Matthew McConaughey. He's
awesome.
so cool.
He's a smart dude.
We've missed you too, Jaggy. It's so awesome to have you back tonight. You came at a good time because Pam is having to work late. She's probably not going to be home until after the show's over. And you know how that goes. She's a nurse, and someone called. She's a head nurse, and someone called in. So when that happens, she has to stay at work.
And it would have been good to have her in for this one, especially though.
Yeah.
Because she has a lot of experience with this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
she was a hospice nurse, so she saw a lot of people right before they died would see their loved ones.
Oh man, it's wild.
And start talking, and then they would pass away.
Yeah. I was telling you about Papa earlier.
Yeah.
Remember military
He
medium?
said arms went up in the air.
Yeah, my dad said he was sitting right there, and then Papa put his hands in the air, and that was the last thing he did.
Wow.
Dropped them and died.
Did you text Mona?
I put it on Instagram. Yeah, she follows.
Because she's going to be excited about next week's show, which I'll announce here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we'll give her a few
Okay,
minutes.
yeah, just see if she gets it.
Let's give Mona a few minutes because I think everybody will be excited about next week's show.
Yeah. I know I am.
I didn't think this was going to happen, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
But every time we do Delphi, that's why if you went back,
you just blew it.
well, it doesn't matter.
Okay, well, it has something to do with Delphi.
It does. Yeah. But I mentioned this at the end of the last episode. I
What?
said, hey, what are the odds that we're going to end up doing another one? Some way.
I know.
Yep. And guess what?
We
I'm
are-
glad though. That's a
And we are.
it's a wild case, man.
It is. Okay, well, tonight, guys, we're going to do NDEs. That's a near-death experience. It's also closely to out-of-body experiences. Except the out-of-body experiences, the experiences I've read about is more like people floating around. They can actually float through the house, up through the roof, but they don't go to the light. They don't see that light.
Right. Okay.
It's just, and some people can practice that.
Okay.
And actually, there's tapes, or not tapes. That's old school.
Yeah.
But you can go to YouTube, and there's people that will try to talk you into an NDE, like almost a self
I
hypnosis
got you.
kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So very, very cool. Well, for you people who don't know what an NDE is, I will put my glasses on.
Very good.
Are you proud of me, Garrett?
Yeah, I am proud of you.
Hey, I think we had a good beginning. We didn't blow the
I'm
intro.
really proud of us right now, honestly.
I'm almost tearing
It's
up.
weird that there's all these freaking cats in here.
And yeah, they're looking for Pam is
I
what they're
know.
looking for. And then also I got the applause button right.
I'm
It's just so wonderful.
Things are
isn't
looking
it?
up, dude.
Okay, so I'm going to read this, the boring part, but believe me, we're not going to be reading a lot tonight. We're going to have, I think, 3 special guests tonight. They're going to call on that actually have had NDE experiences, and they're going to share that with all of us. But a near-death experience, okay, it's a profound personal experience associated with death or impending death, which researchers claim share similar characteristics. When positive, such experiences may encompass a variety of sensations, including detachment from the body, feelings of levitation, total serenity, security, warmth, and the experience of absolute dissolution in the presence of a light. That sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I hope that actually is like what happens when we pass away. But there's also a dark side. People have had negative experiences such as sensation of anguish, distress, and also the feeling that they've gone to hell. I remember one guy had an NDE where he said, how people say they go up to a light?
Right.
He started going down, and he says he's going down his tunnel, demonic hands were coming out.
What?
And they were grabbing him and screaming at
That's
him.
interesting.
And there's been a lot of people who've had hell type experiences.
Okay.
But it turned them, they became Christians afterwards.
Interesting.
So anyway, however, some patients have described to their doctors everything that was going on in the room when they were trying to bring them back to life. This doctors have not been able to explain, Garrett.
I know. Heard a weird one earlier, but go ahead.
I'll share this with you. My uncle, he passed away at 52 from a heart attack.
Okay.
He had several, 2 or 3 heart attacks before the big one.
Right.
He said he was in the room. They were working on him, giving him CPR. He said he came out of his body. He went to the waiting room and was listening to the conversations of like my dad and mom and everybody, and could hear everything that was going on when the doctors were performing, their CPRs. And stuff, before he got.
So were all the people
back.
that he mentioned, were they actually in the waiting room?
Yeah.
So there's verification.
Yeah. So he was just floating around the hospital, just cruising around.
That's verification, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's one thing, doctors, they try to explain it away as like, oh, your brain is going into like a big electrical shock activity. Things are going crazy. That's the hallucinations you're seeing. But the one thing that every doctor can't explain is when these people do come back and they say, I know exactly what you said to the nurse, and they don't know what to do.
Right, for sure.
Have you heard of the neurologist? He had meningitis in the brain.
Okay.
He passed away. And he was a total science guy. He just believed science. And he had a near-death experience where he floated out of his body. A beautiful angel came and sat next to him, took him around, and showed him all this stuff. And then he went back in his body. And he
became a believer.
And he was a doctor. And he before that, he'd never believed in it. especially being a neurologist.
Right. Oh, for sure.
So it changed his whole way of thinking about NDEs.
Well, that's part of the NDE skill.
Yeah.
Like, does it change the way you think about the world around you or yourself or circumstances or situations in your life? Right. And we'll get into a little bit of the science.
Hey, Dark Times. How's it going,
what's up,
buddy?
Dark Times?
I saw you on someone else's channel. I can't remember what it was. Maybe a Delphi channel. I don't know. It's funny because I'll go to some Delphi channels and I'll see some of our people out there.
Right.
Like Charles O. the other day, yesterday, I saw him on some guy from New York, and he talks like this through the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, hey, really,
and it makes his voice high.
Really fast, and then we'll get back to it. Ladybug something. I talked about her in the Delphi episode. I mentioned her. Well, it turns out she watched our show later, and then she comments on the show, and I'm like, "Hey, Ladybug." I replied to her comment. I said, "Hey, Ladybug, I talked to you about it on our show," and she said, "That's creepy." And I was like, "No." I had to explain it. It wasn't creepy. It was a good comment. So,
all right. Hey, so do you have some notes or particular that you're wanting to let the audience know about?
If Paul wants to call right now, he can.
Yeah, I'm talking to him right now.
Okay, so that's up to him. Yeah.
Okay.
Completely.
Okay.
Really grateful he's calling.
We'll call him in 5 minutes. How about that?
Okay.
And then that way, because you got a lot of interesting stuff. I was looking at some of your notes earlier.
Yeah. So this group called IANS, okay, and they have I told you the IANS actually has a YouTube channel. It's very successful, tons of subscribers. I know the NDE stuff I was listening to was with Dr. Bruce Grayson, who's an expert. But I mean, that thing had 44,000 views already.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I mean, but it's very insightful.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I was pulling stuff from that. So for those of you who don't know, IANS is an acronym for International Association of Near-Death Studies. Obviously, these guys all come from the University of Virginia. If you follow us on Instagram, I've been giving UVA quite the plug.
Cool.
Because they're the ones that, designed perceptual studies program.
Right.
Like Dr. Ian, which we talked a lot about in the reincarnation episode.
Yeah.
I can read over a couple of these things.
Sure.
So a unique pattern that has been developed is how quickly and clear these people that are having these near-death experiences are thinking. And that's in consideration because what doctors will tell you is that the brain's not getting oxygen.
Right.
So, but they're still having this very vivid experience.
Yeah,
right?
they think it's part of the dying process.
Right.
As you go, I mean, you have these hallucinations because of this electrical storm going on in your brain.
It's a defense mechanism.
Right.
Your body is reacting to this process. And so they'll play it off as, or like some doctors have said, maybe it's the chemicals that they're giving you, right, in the medicine.
Yep.
It's causing these hallucinations. But the fact that a lot of these people are recounting these things that are so vivid, I'm glad you brought up that point. That kind of debunks what they're saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is once consciousness is gone,
right,
then how could you have any hallucinations or anything? Right.
Well, dude, so one funny story I heard was, and this isn't funny. I mean, the guy had a heart attack, which you know all about.
I know all about the heart attack.
He had the pain in the chest. He says calls 911. They say
7 stints later.
Right. And so he goes to the ER. He ends up flatlining. Okay.
Wow.
And so when he comes back, they end up saving him. The doctor comes in to visit him a week later, and he says, "Doc, why were you waving your hands like wings?" And the doctor was trained in Japan and was really disciplined and kind of took offense to it. Really was because he wouldn't never mess around in the operation room. Right. He's a cardiologist.
Right.
Very serious job. He goes, "You're live, aren't you?" and walked out.
Wow.
And so this guy goes to one of Bruce Grayson's, one of these IANS meetings, right?
Yep.
And he finds Bruce. I shouldn't call him Bruce. I mean, this guy's phenomenal. Dr. Grayson and says...
that's a doctor.
Yeah, doctor.
As Art Bell would tell you.
Yeah. And so he finds Doctor and he says, "Hey, I had this experience." And so Dr. Grayson obviously says, "Well, hey, do you mind if I reach out to the doctor?" And he goes, "Yeah, absolutely." So he reaches out to this Japanese doctor and he's trying to verify the story. And he goes, "Okay, so now can I ask you, why were you waving your arms around?" And he goes, when he said that, it's the first time I've really thought about it. But in Japan, we're trained to, whenever we use sanitized gloves, because everything they do is very sanitized, right?
Yeah.
You've been in the operation room.
Oh, yeah.
And doing this kind of stuff. And so he ended up having a quadruple bypass, this guy. And so he says they're trained to only touch their chest And so
Really?
when he comes in, because that's also, he doesn't want to touch anything that's not sanitized.
Right.
He's very disciplined. He's a professional. He takes his job very seriously. And so whenever he walks into the operation room, and of course they're in charge, he's barking orders and he's using his elbows, which then
Are you serious?
verified.
So like a chicken?
Yeah, like
Okay.
like a chicken. Yeah. So he's in there barking orders, but he's not touching anything. So this guy actually saw him wave. That was him waving his arms.
Ah.
So it was verification. So it goes back to that point there. This guy's heart had stopped, but yet he was conscious somewhere, and he was having this outer body experience where he's witnessing this doctor, right? Playing, and they finally connected it through Dr. Grayson, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you brought that point up, because I think that part of it's fascinating.
I've been in a lot of surgeries and I've never seen a doctor go, "Hey, nurse, hemostats."
Yeah.
You over
But
there.
it makes sense.
More
right.
O2.
Yeah. Well, and, like Japanese culture is very neat, right? Like, and very
Sure.
And so it
Makes sense.
yeah.
it
Well,
makes sense.
and the trucker had, this guy was a long haul trucker, and he was like, dude, the guy was waving his arms around. Like, he was waving his arms around. And immediately when I heard this, I was like, oh, did he have like wings like an angel? Was he like his guardian angel?
Yeah, you're thinking angel.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no.
No, he's barking orders.
Yeah, he was giving orders. So, man, it's,
Hey, Mona.
Mona's in.
Mona, have I got a surprise for you?
Hey, let's go ahead and do it. And
All
then
right.
we'll call Paul in.
We'll go ahead and announce it.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, next week, guys, Delphi with special guest Matt Sullivan.
Matt Sullivan's coming back on.
Matt Sullivan is coming on next week. We're very, very excited. He went to Delphi recently, ran into Anthony Greeno.
Yes.
So that should be interesting. And he's going to give us an update. I think maybe a few things have changed since the last time he was on as far as Gabe Ellis. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure.
Hey, he's always got a pulse, though, on something
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
on.
Matt's he's a really good investigator.
Yep, he is.
He gets to the bottom of it, man. So, Mona, I know you're going to be happy about that. Okay. So, Paul, if you're listening, my friend, I'm going to call a good friend of mine, Paul Courtney. He had an NDE. I played with this guy in a band for several years. Never knew this.
Wow.
So I'm going to get on to him because we used to talk about paranormal stuff.
Never mentioned it. Yeah.
After the shows or before the shows are setting up. And I don't remember, maybe he told me I'm just getting old and I totally forgot. I mean, that is a
You're
possibility.
43, man. Come on.
Shut up.
That's the new 23.
Yeah, I don't feel like it.
Hey, Kitty.
Hey, Paul, what's up, buddy?
What's up? There's some sweet corn on the grill with some baked potatoes and this piece of beef that I'm just now turning over.
That sounds amazing.
Man, yeah, let's go to Paul's house.
I haven't even eaten dinner yet.
I know, right?
Well, you know what the trick is, right? Be a bass player.
Ba-dum.
Very good.
All right. So, Paul, we've known each other for a long time. And,
Yeah.
yeah. And have you, we before shows, after shows, you and I always kind of talked about ghosts and we talked about paranormal things. And so this is going to be a special treat because I don't remember the NDE unless you told me and I was just too drunk to remember.
Which is quite possible.
Yeah.
Quite possible.
Yeah. So, man, I'm excited about this. So go ahead and share. How did this start? What happened? What caused it?
What caused it was an ex-wife moving my daughters out of state and me deciding I needed to go and find something else. So I did. Let's just say that there's a couple of substances that caught my eye and everything else, and
Okay.
kept me busy for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Are we on there?
Yes, we're on the air.
Okay. Is there anything I can't say or shouldn't say?
Did you play the art bell?
If here's what Art Bell would say.
No bad
Okay.
language.
Right.
No bad language.
Okay.
Okay.
Easy enough.
And
Anyway.
is this going to be a sex thing, Paul?
Nope.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
Well, actually, I don't know because when one of them I kind of passed out or out of
One
it,
of them.
I don't know what happened.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, carry on. Carry
Anything
on.
is possible.
All right.
Okay. First one happened. I was probably 18 or 19. So when they're working at a pizza place with my friends from high school and college, we're in there partying, doing our thing, being pizza delivery drivers. After shift, get in there, drink, Do a little weed, do a little this, do a little the other, do a little the other. Well, come to find out, somebody pulls up with the little thing called poppers. I don't know if you guys remember those things.
Mm-hmm.
Little amyl nitrates. And we're doing a little thing with however you do them. Anyway, I'm getting up there. My turn. Hey. And take my hit. The next thing I know, I'm sliding down the wall.
Okay.
Having a good little whatever it is. And then I wake up, and my manager's she's sitting kind of cross-legged, holding my head in her legs. And I'd been having my grandma seizures for 5 minutes, not knowing what is going on. I look up at everybody and go, "What's up? What's going on? What's going on?" And everybody's just looking at crying. We just call somebody's on the phone with the ambulance, and she looks down and goes, "What the fuck? You're alive?" Oh shit! Sorry about that.
You're good.
And I go, "Yeah. Why wouldn't
no
I
bad
be?"
language.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, Keith. You know me. I was trying to remember.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
She goes, "You're alive?" And I go, "Yeah. What would you think?" She goes, "You've been out for about 5 minutes." What do you mean I've been out for about 5 minutes? Yeah, you went down, hit your head on the floor. Next thing you know, you're seizing. And
Wow.
the interesting thing about this, hold on, plane going overhead.
Do what?
Plane going over. his
Sorry.
head.
Oh, okay.
Plane going overhead. Yeah. Anyway, come to find out, I remember this dream while I was in the middle of it. And as a lot of people have said, it's like this big tunnel going towards this light. Yes and no. I can't say it's a tunnel, but it is kind of encompassing. It's like, for me, it was like everybody in the world was like hugging you at once, but you weren't being squeezed.
Right.
Oh,
If that
wow.
makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard that
Kind of going
described.
towards this. Yeah, kind of going towards this light, and I'm going, "Hey, this is cool," and looking around, and all these people are trying to figure out where they are, what they're doing, all kind of floating towards this light. It's kind of a golden light. The area itself is, best way I can describe it, it's a void, but you can see everything, and there's no light to illuminate stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. You said there's no lights, or
There was no light except for that light at the end of the tunnel.
right.
But it's as if everything was illuminated, but it was a void and there was nothing
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Nothingness.
at the same time.
Did you have Did you have any concept of time? Did you have any concept of? It sounds like you didn't because you're not.
I had full. I want to say I had full faculties of my actual brain, thinking and being able to look around and trying to actually process things. But as far as everything else, I don't know. Time. I don't think time really existed. Well,
Yeah.
time doesn't really exist, but it's all relative.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going up, talking to these people, and I feel like I'm talking to these people. All of a sudden, some figure comes from the light and stops right in front of me, puts his hand down, and goes, "Not yet." Next thing I know, I'm waking up, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's when I'm looking up, and going, "What's going on, guys?" Now, here's the thing that was really, really strange to me, and why I think it has to be whatever it was. When I woke up, I was completely stone cold sober.
Wow.
Period. There's no way I should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably drank a 12-pack of beer, had some vodka, had some more vodka, weed, and a couple other little substances here.
But you had
And I
that,
woke up
you
thinking,
had that popper.
yeah, that too, yeah.
Hey, did your manager?
But
Did
I
your
woke
manager?
up feeling
Hey,
as if I just,
did your manager have
Yeah.
that popper too?
all of them, everybody there did.
That was a cool pizza shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it
but-
was.
but-
It really was.
But nobody
But
had
when
an experience like you, though. I mean, they did the same thing, but no. Wow.
I guess it just, whatever it affected me in a way that I guess it stopped my heart, and I just went down, and that was it. I have no idea, recollection of that. Don't know any of what's happened. But when I woke up, it was like I was just waking up from like a 12-hour deep sleep, completely rested, completely ready to go. It's like, hey, what are we doing?
Wow.
So,
That's
yeah,
pretty awesome.
It was a trip.
Did you have a?
Yeah.
Was it like can you describe that actual feeling of going? Because it sounds like you're in, like you use the word void.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothingness, right?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
was,
it's like you're
but it was
nothing.
comfort. It sounds. You said it sounded like, or it felt like everybody in the world was hugging you, and I thought that was a super unique way to describe it. So it was it a comforting, joyful? Was it just you can't just
It wasn't
undescribable?
like I couldn't put any true emotions to it because it wasn't undescribable. It was just indescribable.
Right.
If that
Right.
makes sense.
No, yeah, absolutely. absolutely.
It was, come to think about it, I don't remember actually remembering any of my senses being able to perceive anything other than just my eyes.
That's interesting.
Because there was no sound. It's like you're floating in water that's completely clear, except there's nothing there and everything's eliminated. That's
bizarre.
Was you frightened at all?
Bizarre.
Was you frightened at all during any of it? I mean, was there a part of you is going, "Oh my God, I might be dying," or?
Nope.
Wow.
Not a bit of it.
So if the guy would
Not
have,
a bit of it.
so had the guy, what if the guy said, "Paul, it's your time, let's go," or "I'm going to let you have a choice of going back"? Was it that great that you would have stayed?
I don't think it was an option that way. I think it was more of a everybody goes through, unless it was a mistake, in which case I guess they send some middle class manager or something in there to kind of keep you from going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, and when you heard that message, did you hear it? Did you see it? Did you feel it? Like,
was it telepathic or audio or
does that make sense?
Audible,
visual?
or
Yeah.
Best way to describe it is I just knew it,
Okay.
and there was a push in my chest, and that was it. I
Wow.
was done.
Okay, cool.
I was out. Yeah, it's like no words, no nothing you can hear, no telepathy between it. His time wasn't there. It's just like
It just
all of a
happened.
sudden I was sitting here. It just happened, right? It just
Wow.
happened. I knew it in my mind, and then I was back.
And you were comfortable. That's
Yeah, it
a
was-
wild thing.
Yeah, I was. When I woke up, I wanted to go back to sleep. I thought I was having a dream until I
Yeah.
realized I was still at work, and everybody's around me looking, going, okay, I'm on the floor. They're not. What did I do?
Smelled like pizzas. You got your senses back.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said you
So
felt.
like pizza's desperation.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, just saying.
Yeah, so
but
like pizza's desperation and shame in there.
yeah.
So
So you said you felt like totally. Maybe I heard you wrong. Did you say you felt totally rested after this thing? Like you're ready to get up and
Yeah.
go do? Wow.
like I just slept 12 hours after taking some sleeping pill that won't have any after effects.
Did you at any point feel like separated from your body?
No,
That's interesting.
I did not feel separated from the body. I felt as if my body was up there, even though I kind of in my mind knew it wasn't.
Wow. Okay.
Could
Yeah,
you? Did you look down? Could you look down from where you're at and see you, or was it like you're just encompassed in this
I
tunnel?
could not.
Okay.
Me, I was just in this, and it wasn't a tunnel. It was just a void that had no limits to it, but that you're going towards a certain direction, so it may have seemed like a tunnel. If that makes sense.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
the-
it was just like a big. Yeah.
What
Go
about
ahead.
the guy that reached his hand down to you? Did you recognize this guy? Was it a relative or was it?
I did, but I recognized him, but I could not tell you who it was. I either want to think it was someone within my past family, either ancestor or grandfather, or somewhere along those lines.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know when you like I have dreams before, and it's weird where you're with somebody, and in a dream it's like you've known them forever. It's like part
Right.
of like, oh well, but when you wake up, you have no idea who the hell
Right.
it was.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, man, there's
Exactly.
just I think it's different. Probably different spirits, Paul, that maybe you may have been connected with, in another life, possibly, or as a relative, or who knows.
Well, as far as the actual person who sent me back, I think that was a relative. As far as the other people that were within there, I think they were just all people in the same kind of predicament I was in, trying to find their way to the next place in life or next
Right.
place in existence.
Right.
Well, that makes sense.
Because everybody had the same kind of look on their faces, like, what is this? Where am I? Where am I going?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're going, and they don't have any control over it.
They're
and,
going.
and right. I mean,
Yeah,
essentially,
exactly.
that's how you felt, is that you were in control and out of control at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
You were in control because you were kind of maintaining a balance, maintaining
Right.
a position within like X, Y, and Z.
But you were going somewhere.
But that you had no control because you were going towards
Yeah,
this
right.
certain place
Right.
at the same
fascinating.
speed, just kind of, you kind of want to feel like there was a waltz playing in the background,
Right.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
All right. So, Paul, you got any? Before I let you go, do you got any shows to plug? You playing anywhere?
Well, believe it or not, you remember that old band, The Revolve, that I was in before you and I hooked up?
Yes.
We had a reunion show out of VCBs last night.
Oh, right on.
Oh, cool.
Right on.
Nice.
Hey, we're gonna be
Yeah.
at Belle Isle too.
Will you win?
June 5th.
Cool.
So you need to come
The
out.
next
I'll be
shows
Uh,
there.
I've got coming up, I've got every Thursday I'm at JJ's from 6:30 to 8:30 with playing with a guy named Dan Harp and the two Peace Tenders,
Right.
PEACE. And then I'm doing the Red Rock Painting Festival the 22nd.
Nice.
Nice,
there.
dude. Nice. Good for you, man.
Yeah, and then I've been busy doing a lot of things, Keith. I'm completely in the music business now.
That's awesome.
When I'm
That's
not
tough.
playing on the stage, I'm under the stage working as an audio tech, doing big concerts at like Chesapeake and BOK
Nice.
Center.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I
Yeah.
guess you heard Otis passed away, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was
I
horrible.
thought that was going to go, but I didn't get a chance because I was playing that night.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to his daughter yesterday, and they're putting all his guitars
she
for
doing?
sale. She's doing okay. I mean, it's
Wow.
hard, but yeah, they're putting all the guitars for sale. So I'm probably gonna buy an Otis guitar.
Yeah, you should.
I got
I'll
to.
throw
I
it
gotta
in.
have a.
You should.
Yeah, I gotta have something
I'll
Otis
throw it in.
owned. But
Hey, really quick, did you say that you had more than
Yes.
one NDE?
There was another one, but I can't exactly call it an NDE because I was completely conscious during the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And that was more of
Outer
a
bo-
physiological kind of thing with stuff I was doing seemed to want to stop my heart. And when that happened, I kind of was just laying there thinking, okay, why can't I move? Next thing I realized, I'm not hearing my heartbeat in my head. Checking
Oh.
out, okay, what's going on? Yeah, it's one of those. I think I told you about this one. What kind of brought me back around? Leg spasm, muscle spasm.
Interesting.
oh wow,
Okay.
that is interesting.
That is physiological.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you for the.
We'll
thank
get
you
back
for
to those
calling, man.
steaks, and I'll see. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. Come out to Belle Isle if you're
Yeah.
not playing.
Would you
or anything?
send me an invite or
I will.
send me a reminder if you would, Keith?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be glad to come up now. I'd love to see y'all.
It was
Yeah,
nice
it'd be
to
great.
meet you, Paul.
Cool. Hey, cool. Thanks, guys. You all
Yep.
have a good evening. We'll
You
talk to you later.
You too, man. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
And that
Whoa,
was Paul.
fascinating. Holy
Yeah.
cow, man!
Yeah. that's-
You've known Paul for a long time.
Yep. Yeah, I've known Paul for several years. So and he's very credible. He's a very intelligent guy.
I can tell.
But that story I hadn't heard. So,
Man, you know it's crazy. On the way over here, I was listening to the IANS, IANS YouTube channel, and there was a doctor on there that had been raised an atheist. When she was a child, she said, "What happens when we die?" And her dad said, "Nothing," and she immediately became an atheist guy. Anyway, she had this experience. She was actually an ER doctor, and she had this. I'll fast forward, make this quick, but
you're fine.
she had some of the women out there. Actually, Cass had this. Listen to Previa. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
It's very dangerous in childbirth, especially back in the 80s. And so it was actually, she was going into labor at the hospital her and her husband both worked at, which is interesting. She ended up passing away. Okay. Her heart stopped and everything like that. But what he just described
Mm-hmm.
was almost identical to what she described.
Really?
Obviously different words, but when he used the words, it felt like he was being hugged by everybody in the world. That was exactly, not verbatim, but she explained it like she was floating, like he used water.
Yeah.
Like she was floating and that she was engulfed in velvet. It was
Yeah.
like a massage, like it was just this all-encompassing feeling that wasn't a feeling. It was like she knew it. And again, she was also floating towards something and she couldn't quite understand. Now, she had an outer body experience.
Yeah.
She was watching when the doctor actually came in and stuck his hand in there and pinched her artery and
Oh,
stopped
wow.
the bleeding because she was bleeding out. And she said when that happened, it was like a burst. Like, and she also heard a voice, but it wasn't words. It was thunder. And it told her it wasn't her time yet. But she didn't hear it like clearly. It was like a thundering noise that vibrated into her body, and she knew it wasn't her time.
Yeah.
And right when that happened, he pinched the artery, and it was like, phew, she just bounced right back in.
I would call that a near death.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
she died. Her heart stopped.
Okay, I thought you said you thought it was more of an OB.
No. So I think that there can be both, right? Like
There can be, but I think when an angel or a relative intervenes and says it's not your time yet, you died.
right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But with an OB, like I said, I think that's more of people floating outside their body, through the roof, around the neighborhood.
Right.
That kind of thing, or around the house. I hear a lot of that, and then back into their body. It seems like the OBs don't last real long. because I guess you have to subconsciously, I guess you're controlling that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't we give Kathy a call?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Kathy, I'm going to try to call you on the Facebook thing, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just have you to call me. So let's give this a shot.
Hello.
Hey, my favorite trucker. How you doing?
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, hello. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
I can't hear him.
Okay,
Oh my gosh, my Bluetooth.
it's not you. Hey, Kathy, if you're listening, call me on the phone. We had that problem, I think, when we tried to get Amber and Larry on at one time.
Larry Bear.
So call 205-730-6441, Miss Kathy, and we'll give her a few minutes. 205-730-6441, Miss Kathy, give us a call. For some reason, it drives me nuts with OBS when I try to use Facebook, because actually I could bring 2 or 3 people on if that worked right, but it always gets to where they can't hear us, but we can hear them, so I don't get that. So hopefully Kathy will call us back.
Call us up. Hey, in the meantime, you notice I was asking him about time.
Yeah.
Time is a really interesting aspect of NDEs.
Yeah, well, I mean, you always hear that. It's like there's no time up there
or
over there,
or their thoughts are flooding in so quickly and so fast that it would give you some sense of time. So like that's kind of like the odd thing about NDEs is some people feel like there's no time, like Paul.
Yeah.
Right? Timelessness. Where other people feel like time is actually slowed down, or their thoughts are speeding up, which would make it feel like time is slowed down, right? And so because and that's where you go. That's what the life review is,
right?
Almost, right? That's where the life review comes in.
That's got to be embarrassing doing a life review.
Well, it's weird, man, because some people that do have these life reviews, they actually see it from their own eyes in the moment in which it was happening.
Right.
So, like, if you're in your life review, you punched Aunt Debbie when you were 6, right? Not only would you, in that life review, could you feel that as a 6-year-old and through the 6-year-old Keith's eyes? But here's the crazy thing, Keith. You can take that a step further. Sometimes these people that have these life reviews feel it from the other person's point of view.
Yes.
And that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and anything wonderful you've done, you feel the feelings they had. I know exactly what you're talking about. Or to say anybody you've hurt, you felt the pain that you put them through, and all the love you gave, you feel that as well.
But what's wild is so people are dying, having this experience, and then coming back.
Yeah.
So they're having all of this, and then in real time, though.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay. I love your stories, dude.
Okay. Well, this is from a TV show. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but maybe some of the viewers have. It's called Supernatural.
Larry loves that show.
Oh, yeah. The last episode was just amazing. So basically it's about these 2 brothers, the Winchesters, and they fight monsters. They go all around the country and do all these things and kill these monsters. Well, at the last episode, the brother dies, right? So he goes on to heaven. It shows him going and talking to a guy that used to be on their little fighting team or their hunting team. And the guy said, he goes, pretty perfect up here, isn't it? And he goes, well, not quite. And he was talking about my brother's not up here, right? He goes, he'll come along soon. So Sam had this, I can't remember what muscle car it was. I can't remember, Chevelle or something like that. And he goes, I think I want to go for a ride. So he's in heaven. So he's got his favorite car. So he gets in and he starts it and he's driving. Now, he's just driving down the road. While he's driving down the road, it's showing his brother Sam, who'd passed away. Dean's the other guy, sorry. Yeah. It shows him going through life, getting older, having kids, grandkids, and then he shows him old in the bed and he's getting ready to die. Right when Dean gets into that bridge and gets out of the car, his brother shows up.
Wow, okay.
So that's how he was saying time is like nothing up here.
Man, that's so refreshing.
So just for like a drive in his car, his brother Sam had passed away.
Yeah.
So it just really Cool
perspective.
idea.
Yeah.
Hey, Kathy, if you're out there, sorry about that. We have problems with the chat thing on Facebook. So if you just give us a call at 205, and I know you're... Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's another number.
And then that thing won't move. Is this Kathy?
Yes. Sorry, guys.
No, Kathy, you know what? My favorite trucker. Let me tell you something. What happens? Me and Garrett have tried that before. Where I tried to call you on Facebook Messenger, and I forgot for some reason we can hear you, but you can't hear us. So, I wish it worked.
Actually, I heard you guys this time.
What? So I just hung up on
I
you?
heard you guys talking.
Okay.
It just wasn't connecting for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Well, how are you all doing?
We're doing good.
The last time we talked.
Yeah, we're doing great. How are you doing? Well, I'm still in this crazy move where I'm still getting 2 houses ready, and it's
well, actually,
taking
we
forever.
finally got some time off. Yeah, we finally got some time off in Bakersfield, California.
Yay!
Kind of been doing the paranormal thing. So, and we were on our way to dinner. So you guys are kind of traveling with me in the car.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Let's chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I bought this new 4K camera that has infrared. You can see in the dark. So Garrett and I are actually in maybe a month. We're going to do a live ghost hunt at a nursing center.
It's not a nursing center.
Yeah, a retirement, whatever the hell it's called. But yeah,
Right.
so that'll be fun. So I went ahead and got out the K2 meters, the spirit box, the stuff I promised myself I would never mess with again.
It's out in the new house.
So I'm going to say a whole lot of prayers and protect myself before I go into this thing.
Absolutely.
So, well, Kathy, tell us about your NDE. What happened?
Oh my gosh, my NDE happened when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
I ended up committing suicide, and my mother had come home evidently and found me on the bed, and she dialed 911, and they rushed me to the hospital. And when they got me into the emergency room, I flatlined, and I remember standing outside. outside my body. I was dead. And
Wow.
I'm standing there, and I'm standing at the head of my body, and I'm watching all these doctors and nurses, sticking needles in me. They brought the pads in, and they were yelling "clear," and trying to get my heart started again. They were cutting my clothes off of me, and I could see my mom standing off into the background, just clenching her purse and just bawling her eyes out. And it's like all of a sudden I just got tapped. I got tapped on my left shoulder, and when I turned to look, I just was gone. I was just gone. And I went into, I can't even say it was a room because it was so dark, guys, that I couldn't even see the floor, ceilings, walls, nothing. It was like I was almost suspended in, space.
Wow.
But my feet were firmly on the ground. I mean, I was on something,
Mhm.
but I was, crouched down like in a ball, and I seen this and yes, there was a light, and it was way off into the distance. It was like a crystallized light, but it was like so far away that I couldn't reach it. But then, as the light glistened, I could see this man standing next to me, and he didn't have any wings. I don't even know who he was, and he was like talking to me, and he said, "This is not what you wanted to do, was it?" And I said, "No." I said, "It was stupid. It was dumb, And he was saying, "Now, he goes, life is a gift. It's not for us to take."
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, well, at 16 years old, I mean, what's a 16-year-old going to think of that? Okay,
Right.
whatever,
Right.
What's that supposed to mean? And he told me this, which was the real shocker, is he said that suicides don't receive the light. And I'm like, well, why? And he said, well, like I said, life is a gift. It's not for you to take. Life is given to you, and you're not allowed to take it or take somebody else's. So I was like, all right. But then he said, and I remember him specifically saying this to me, he said, he didn't say I, or he didn't say he said, we have work for you to do. And I was sent back. And I didn't know I was sent back. I was in a coma for 32 days after that.
Jesus.
God.
And in CCU, in that critical care unit, I was in a coma. And when I came out of that coma, it's like standing in a crowded room and everybody was all talking at once. But the only thing that was in there were other patients that were on heart monitors and respirators and stuff. But that's when I came back with abilities. And then I had a better understanding after that about what they meant about we have work for you to do, because that's what happened. That's when I got my abilities and able to do what I can do now. So, but did I see the light? Yeah, I did, guys. I seen it. It's real. It's real.
No, go ahead.
Well, I just was gonna point out that Kathy always has such a good vibe.
I know.
When you call, like, it's such a good vibe. We like conversate, like it's such a good conversation.
You put me in a good mood, Kathy.
But I mean, well,
thanks, guys.
well, I was gonna just ask you this question. I was prefacing this question with that is that did this immediately change your perception or how you thought about the world around you? Like whenever you,
yes.
And how quickly did you realize that you had this experience? Like when you woke up after 32 days in your coma, was this an immediate thing? Like what you said, you heard all this stuff, like, or was it a process where you had to kind of absorb everything that had happened to you and then you realized?
Yes, it was a shock. It was a shock. I literally thought I was going crazy. I was hearing all these voices, and it took me years to understand it and realize it, that I was hearing the dead. And I'm just like, what? It was too much to absorb.
Yeah.
But it took me years to finally realize what I had and to work with it and to use it to my advantage. And I don't know, guys, it was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. But it did. It changed my entire perspective on life.
How do you feel about death now? So, I mean, you had a terrifying experience, but since you've changed...
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So since you've changed your thinking, I bet you're not afraid of death now.
No, I'm not.
And it's comforting just knowing that, when you had that experience, that there is something other than just life on Earth. So...
Right.
Yeah.
That there is an afterlife,
Well, that's awesome.
It's like, whoa, it's real.
I was hearkening back to that story because for those of you who haven't listened to like some of our early episodes, we actually talked about this. And I didn't even honestly, Kathy, I didn't have to go back and rewatch that episode or listen to it again. I remembered exactly how you described it, which is what you just described perfectly to the T. And that stuck with me about you being in that room and having this entity talk to you. So let me ask you this. You said you really, you made the point, I heard this very clearly. It's you have work to do. So did you like recognize the voice? Did you see like a mouth moving, or is this something you felt?
No, he was real. He was real. His mouth was moving. I could tell you his movements. Matter of fact, I could even draw a picture of him of what he looks like.
Cool.
And he was absolutely real. And you know what I found out? And shame on me for not finishing this. I found out later he was my guardian angel.
Okay.
Awesome.
And he was the one that was assigned to me. And I even know his name. His name is Seth. And so this is the one who watches over me to make sure I stay out of trouble, I guess.
Yeah.
I bet that's probably a chore, isn't it?
Yes. But what was weird is he didn't have wings.
Right.
He didn't have a halo or what, everybody perceives angels to look like. I believe he was once human as well.
Yes, it's interesting.
At one time.
Yes, I agree with that. It's interesting you said that because I just watched a show yesterday where someone had a near-death experience, and there was a female that came to this little girl and said, "I'm your guardian angel. and after I watch over you for a while, I'm going to be born. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so it's like even, I mean, angels, I think, don't you think, Kathy, angels are completely different beings than humans or human spirits, right? Or I would think.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I
so
do.
I think after we pass away, maybe that's something, a job we can do is watch over someone while we're waiting around for our next reincarnation or our incarnation.
Gotcha.
So,
Right. I was going to say, what was really uncanny about when I met him is he was all dressed in leather. Well, he had like on black pleated pants, and this is not an unusual. And I'm thinking, why is this guy? Why is he dressed like this? He had a long black leather coat that went all the way to the floor, and his hair was slicked back. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen or seen the actor Gabriel Bryan. I think it's spelled Bryne. He played in the movie Stigmata.
Okay.
You ever see the movie Stigmata? The priest.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The
Yeah.
priest?
Yeah. It's a great movie.
He was identical to him. Identical.
See,
Matter of fact, when I finally seen that actor, I was like, "Oh my God!" I thought I was looking at a carbon copy of my guardian angel.
I thought you were
I really
describing
did.
Sam Elliott there for a minute.
yeah.
The long,
I wish.
the long
I
duster.
wish.
Yeah, the handsome older guy.
Hey, did you?
Right.
So what was time like? Was there time?
Time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you feel like like people say when they have had near-death experiences that there's no sense of time whatsoever. You can't tell if you've been there for hours or seconds or, yeah.
There isn't. I mean, I had no perception at all about how long I was dead.
Wow.
I don't know. And I didn't even know I was in a coma for 32 days. Matter of fact, when I awoke from it, I thought I had just been asleep overnight. Maybe I just passed out or whatever, and I woke up the next morning. I had to actually get it out of a nurse that was caring for me to say, "No, darling, you've been in a coma for 32 days." And I was like, "What?" My parents were already making funeral arrangements. They had a priest coming in to my bedside and praying for me, at least a couple times a week. I mean, everything was planned. They were getting ready to put me in the ground.
God.
So if I didn't, so I was like, oh my God. But as far, like you were saying, time doesn't exist on the other side.
Right.
It doesn't.
Right.
Right.
Time and calendars, all that's created by man.
Yeah.
So it does not exist. So
That's just an
time means
invention we have
what
on Earth. Yeah.
Right.
To make sure we make it to work on time.
Yeah.
I know, right? That's it. That's it. That's exactly it.
Well, cool.
So, but yeah.
Well, Kathy, thanks for sharing your
Thank
story.
you so much. It's nice to hear from you.
It's always good to hear
Thank
from
you,
you.
guys.
Always good to hear from you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
I know. I have so much to tell. I have so many stories. I'm glad. It's cool that you guys call me up and ask me to tell my stories. So
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we're spreading it
Thank
out,
you.
though, so we can keep you on like every other show.
Yeah, we need we need you.
We need you.
Hey, have a nice dinner.
I wish I could have been on the EVP one because I had a lot of those on my Facebook page.
We're probably
too,
gonna
but that's
we're gonna revisit that.
Yeah,
for sure.
we will. And I'm not real
cool.
tech savvy because I think I went to your website and I didn't know how to find the EVPs.
Yeah, me and Keith are just apes.
Yeah.
I would have sent them to you. I would have sent them to you in an email.
Yeah,
But
the
next time we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Next time we do EVPs, I'll hit you up and just send them to me
Okay.
email or something. But
All right,
Kath,
sounds awesome.
have a great night, Kathy. Thanks for calling.
See ya.
Okay,
Be
you
safe.
guys too.
All right.
Okay, you too. Thanks a lot. Bye.
You bet. Bye bye.
Hey, do you think that it was by design? She committed suicide when she was tried to commit suicide when she was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that experience that she had was like by design? I mean, if that was her guardian angel, isn't that how you would be if you were a guardian angel and you knew somebody had the ability to come back into this world? You would probably want to strike fear, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Long leather
which
coat,
brings me to
hair slicked back, like room, like
yeah. It just kind of and not that I disagree with what her guardian angel said or whatever he was.
Right.
But I don't believe, when he said that you'll never see the, if you kill yourself, you'll never see the light.
Right.
Well, one thing is she said she saw the light, right?
Right.
So obviously, I think he may have been giving her that message like, life is so precious.
Right. Take care of it.
Take care of it.
Well, and she also mentioned, like, I'm 16, this guy's talking to me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was wondering,
Just
do you think
like
it's by design?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's because that's how, like, if you make that mistake, man, like she said, at 16, she didn't know what the hell she was doing. Right.
Yeah.
And so, but that almost goes to the point, like, that's her consciousness over there. Somebody's giving her this message, and it needed to be a message that would resonate even after 32 days.
Yeah.
Of chaos and craziness that's going on with her. So
Yeah.
that's the same exact story she told, though, for any of you naysayers out there.
Yeah.
And she's driving right now.
Yeah. It was exact. And because I remember her telling the story, and and I talked to her about doing it again, and
Yes.
I thought, we got a lot of new listeners who haven't heard Kathy's story,
right.
and Kathy's story is very interesting.
It is. No.
And just the fact, she was so lucky that, she committed suicide and that she had that chance where, like you and I were talking about, me and Garrett, I live in the place I moved from, a girl had went into the park last Friday and shot herself in the head. It was a park in our neighborhood, and Garrett may have seen her before he did it.
Like
she did it.
The last person.
Yeah. Just said she had a very distressed
I waved
look.
at her.
You waved at her, and she gave you kind of a.
I looked at Cass and was like, man, that look she just gave me was
Yeah.
bad.
Well, and she's,
It happened like 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just had a suicide last Friday in the park.
Well,
and I'm not laughing. I just.
No, yeah. But I was thinking the whole time.
And you wonder why, like, some people, like, for instance, Kathy made it,
Right.
But this girl did not.
Yeah. Man, we talked a lot about it in the reincarnation episode too, though.
Yeah.
Like, why are we here? Like,
Is suicide by design?
I don't know.
Is that part of is that part of the story?
I would hate to think it is, but
I would too.
But is it? Like, is it teaching those around you a lesson in life, right? Like, life is a gift. Because I don't know if you've known anybody that's committed suicide, and I wish Pam was here to put that hotline up. But about my friend, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about it in the past. And so, it's something we think about and you hear about. And so, that's a tough one, though. You know what I mean? Because it's hard for me to think that somebody's in so much pain would not have the opportunity to see the light. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
You're obviously in a really bad place. You're in pain. And so, hey,
right.
There were some. What the
Sorry,
hell is going
I'll
on
turn
here?
the Bluetooth down. Yeah.
Man, Amazon keeps popping up. Hey, there were some people, demonic. Here, I gotta go to my Instagram.
Demonic investigator or
Yeah,
hunter? Demonic
I
investigator.
think his name's Trey, and then Astro Boy, if you're in. Hey, Astro Kid. Oh look, I got two numbers.
Okay.
Hey, so Terry, I'm gonna have Astro Kid call in really fast. Hey, Astro Kid. He said, "Hey, bear with me. I almost have my water heater installed." and Paul was working on steaks. Everyone, it's a weird time.
I was looking. My cousin Doug said he had kind of a experience when he had tick fever. I think. I'm trying to read these at the same time. We have Pamela's not here. And
yeah, go ahead and read those while I send Astro Kid.
Yeah, I was just wondering if, Doug, if you want to share that. I know you said you convinced yourself it's a hallucination, but it may not have been. And it's up to you. You don't have to call, but if you want to call in and let's hear your experience. How long before Astro Boy calls
He's
in?
typing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, because if we can, we can maybe take another call before he calls in. But.
He's going to call right now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But we'll just wait for Astro Boy. But yeah, I always wondered, I said, like, it's suicide, is that by design too? Is that something that was part of your life's plan, or is it not? I don't know. Because you always read about the people who commit suicide, they have to come right back, is what they say.
Right.
Right back and being reincarnated. Yeah, no one knows, but they got to go right into another carnation and then go right through back to life again. Can you imagine? They say the average. Well, I mean, a lot of people believe that say the average break is about 100 years before they come back.
Yeah, but
And
you
the-
would have no concept of that.
I know.
Right,
Yeah,
which is-
yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right.
Because I mean, 100 years up there might feel like a day.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
So I'm taking 1,000 years off. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, he's calling this number, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Astro Boy.
205-730-6441. 205-730-6441. Astro Boy. Give us a call. We want to hear your story.
Yeah.
These are fascinating.
No, it really is, and you see this this piece of paper. I've actually been using this quite a bit. You know, I wanted to ask her too, like, because I wanted to point out that Kathy, when she calls, is like, I mentioned she has such a great vibe, and like, you know,
She does. And she's got this kind of happiness, joy
right.
about her that when she calls, it makes me feel happy.
Well, when you have
I enjoy talking to her.
A lot of times, people that have NDEs, you know, that's like their second lease on life, and so that's why I wanted to ask, like, did this change you? Because like the Kathy we're talking to now is obviously it's been a long time, is so much different, and there's such a different kind of feeling, you know, than what she was back then, obviously.
Sure.
So.
She learned from it, and thank God. And like I said, I think the angel just told her that she'd never see, just so that she would not ever try anything like that again.
Yep.
So,
Astro Boy, 2 minutes, dude.
2 minutes to Astro Boy.
That's a cool name.
But yeah, I'm excited.
Astro Kid.
Astro Kid, sorry.
Yeah, Astro Kid.
I like the Jetsons, Astro.
yeah, I love
Astro.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to having Matt next week. That's going to be fun. Catch up on the Delphi, see what his investigation's doing.
Yeah, he's always interesting.
And I'm interested about this Anthony Greeno just walking up on him.
Yeah, I'm going to ask him about that.
You know, he looked to me, Matt looked so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything, you know, because I mean, Matt and him maybe have shook hands and buried the hatchet, possibly.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. Because like I said, it's a shame that all the Delphi people, it seems like they're competing against each other
right.
to who can solve the case first, you know, and it's not a matter of that. It's like, let's just get justice for the girls, you know, and if it takes a group combined effort, then so be it.
Absolutely.
And it should be like that.
Astro Kid's typing.
Is he?
It just rings, he says.
Oh, you know, hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, try again, Astro
Try
Boy.
again. Sorry. Did you have the?
We're such professionals.
You were trying to do the right thing, though, dude.
Mona, yeah, you know, Matt never said they went to the bridge. It was raining, so of course they weren't going to cross it. I don't know if him and Kate crossed it the next day. Kate was terrified, and I would be too.
Right.
There's no way. I mean, even dry or anything on a beautiful day, I wouldn't go across that Monon High Bridge. Because I mean, I'm terrified of. Yeah. Let's see, Tina, hang on just a second, sweetie, and we're gonna give Astro Kid. Sorry.
He said it's just ringing.
Well, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got every, you know,
Hey,
the Bluetooth is on, the phone is up, so
yeah. Astro Kid, try one more time, man.
Try it one more time, Astro Kid.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, I keep getting these text messages from
You're
people.
good.
Wish people quit doing that during my show. There's yours. I'm here.
I'm here.
Just like my ghost. I'm here.
Okay.
What's he saying?
He said he's typing. It might not be working. It's ringing now. He said. It's not coming through.
I swear, everything is.
Hey, Astro Kid, if you're watching, sorry, it's not coming through for some reason.
Can you? How about you message Garrett your phone number? That way.
Yeah, I can call you if you want me to.
We can call you.
If you want to give out your number.
Well, I mean, it's not going to come over on the chat. Just give it to Garrett's text message, and then we'll just call you from there.
Instagram. Hey, make sure if you guys are like, oh yeah, here we go. There you go. There's his number.
Well, you know I need my glasses.
Oh yeah.
This old man has to have glasses. Okay.
Can you see that?
Do
I need to hold it further away?
Shut up.
Wait.
What?
That's the noise of your buttons.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, would you be still?
Sorry.
You know.
How old are you?
No. Let me explain. Yes, I have this little squeaky noise when I push a button. Dude, I don't know how it happened. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm turning into my dad.
Oh, that's fine.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'm turning to my
Bill's
dad
awesome.
where if, like, I've hit a button somehow and it makes this noise and I don't know how to take it off. But let's give him a call.
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Astro Kid is ringing.
Astro Kid, answer.
Hello.
Hey, there he is.
Astro Kid? Can I call you
Hello?
Astro? Can I call you Astro Kid?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad. How are you?
Good, dude.
Yeah, Garrett's told me a lot about you, and looking forward to hearing this experience you've had.
Yeah, it was, it's quite the messed up childhood I had. So, I was kind of told to put it out there. So that's kind of what I did. So people on the other side don't, kind of won't let you sleep unless you do what they're told or what they tell you to do, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so a lot of, when I was real young, I had a lot of traumatic events happen and a lot of unfortunate things happen, but my grandparents had actually kind of thrown us, my family, like a big family get together. And the reason they did this is because my mother had abandoned all 4 of her kids, and the 2 oldest kids weren't even hers. Well, they were hers, but they weren't my father's. They were from my father's previous marriage, or my mother's previous marriage, sorry. I still get shaken up, and I'm 40 years old, and I still get shaken up talking about this stuff. And I honestly got to the point where I really hate talking about it. So that's why I kind of wrote it down for everybody.
Yeah, thank you for calling in and sharing it, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's not a problem. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, like, the first near-death experience I had, I was really young. I didn't really, I don't know. I didn't see it coming, I'll be honest with you.
Right.
Either way, we're at some recreational place, and I was out in the dock, and I wanted to get across. My sister and her friend, they were laying across the dock throwing some bread to the bullheads, and they'd come up and eat it. And I wanted to get across, and she wasn't going to let me. None of them were going to. And like, well, I'm just going to tippy toe across their their legs and just get to the other side, right? And when one of the girls had actually, I think it was my sister's friend, she had actually put her leg up, or either that was my sister, I don't remember, and I basically just tripped. And I fell in the water. I didn't know how to swim. I wasn't even in kindergarten yet. I was so young.
Wow.
And when that happened, I remember I panicked because I didn't know how to swim, and I realized it. And I wasn't supposed to go in the water, but I wasn't afraid to be on the dock, right?
Right.
So I just basically fell in, and once I fell in, I heard the big splash, and I realized I was in big doo-doo because I wasn't supposed to be there, and I panicked, and I went,
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
and right when that happened, it was like lights out. And it was like lights out, and next thing you know, it was like my life just started flashing before my eyes, and all these pictures of people that I met and had all these different, basically experiences with. And they, and I went went past that girl, and she really confused me, and I had to go back. I basically was like, whoa, and I went back. It literally went backwards, and through like all the pictures, and it went directly to that girl's face, and I like went into her eyes, and I seen why she said what she did, what she did, and why she really, basically confused the heck out of me, and it was something weird.
Did you say you felt like you were falling backwards through the pictures and stuff?
It wasn't like I was falling backwards, but you've had a tablet in front of you, like the Apple tablet, and if you're like looking at all the pictures, I don't know if it's a certain mode, but it's like you have one picture in front of you, and you can kind of see like all the other ones.
Yes.
To the side.
Yes.
and you can just kind of keep flipping through it. It was a lot like that. I'll be
Wow.
totally honest with you.
Yeah.
So it was like you like did a big swipe and all these pictures like and just like landed on her. And then once I was done with that experience, you know, I started seeing all these pictures again, and I was almost like swiping. I was like, nah, I didn't want to see that. Didn't want to see that. Didn't want to see that. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's a bunch of garbage. Don't care about that. And,
Wow.
you know, you basically just pick and choose what you want to see. And after that point, there was just a bunch of blank pictures, and it was quite the experience. And all of a sudden, after my life flashed before my eyes, I went through that whole experience. Next thing you know, I'm standing on the dock.
What?
And about where I fell in. I was like, I'm just standing on the dock, and I'm watching my father carry somebody off the dock. And at the brief moment that I was standing there, I was like, I thought my father had grabbed my older sibling and started running off, because I didn't see my father jump in the water and pull me out.
And you didn't recognize the situation, necessarily recognize the situation you were in, right? Like, so you didn't recognize that was you he was carrying, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was me because I just saw the back feet. My father was almost on the dry land, and all I saw was the back feet. And I was like, "Oh, wait! I'm over here."
Right.
I was like, you know,
Wow.
you missed me. I was like,
Right.
"What are you doing? You must have grabbed my sister," because you know, if you read my blog, I didn't see that when I was actually seeing my father, it was like my sister, my sibling and my sister and their friend, they were gone. I don't know what happened to them. They just weren't there.
Right.
At least I just didn't see them. And that's why I was like, oh crap! You grabbed my older sibling. It's like, if I'm still in the water.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, if I'm still in the water, I was like, then who am I?
Right.
Yeah.
So you're confused. Yeah.
Yeah, especially being a little
Yeah,
kid.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then next thing you know, I'm just like flying towards my father. I'm like in my body again.
That's fascinating.
You know, I'm like, geez. And it was all black at that point. It was all black. And I remember hearing coughing, and I heard my father saying, that's right, cough it up, that's right, cough it up, you'll be okay. And it was like for the next few minutes after that, I kept hearing these other voices around me talking, like people were talking about.
They're talking about
and
you?
telling me that I'm going to die of bronchitis. He could get bronchitis and this and that. I mean, I don't know how many times I heard bronchitis. I was like, I'm not. It's like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
like, how am I
yeah.
supposed to die from it?
Absolutely.
You know?
That's
But-
fascinating. So, again, I'm going to ask you the same question I've been asking the other ones. Time. Any concept of time?
You know, at that time, I didn't really perceive anything with time. The only thing that I really saw that was different was it was almost like it was looking through a film, or I don't know how to explain it. It's like if you've ever done window tinting, and you just before you ever put the window tint on the window, and you just hold it up and look through it. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
It's the only thing I could, you know. I didn't. It was so short. It was just so brief, and it was just, you know, it was really hard to comprehend.
Well, that's the crazy thing is that it was so brief, but yet you were making decisions about which pictures that you wanted to access, and so that's why I keep asking about the time thing. That's a fascinating story.
It is.
And sorry you had to go through that. That's crazy.
Well, you see, like when I was going through the whole ordeal with, you know, the life flashing before my eyes, it was almost like I could have just taken as long as I wanted.
Right.
Which is weird. It was just like, you know, if I want to go back and forth and just kind of even navigate a little bit, it just seemed like it was actually my choice. But I was just like, blah, 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 you know, get it over with. The next thing you know, there was, you know, I was so young, there was a bunch of blank pages behind it.
Right.
So, you know, I'm just standing on the dock.
Did you feel like that your vision was more vivid? Like, does that make sense? Like, did you hear anything?
Like when I was standing on the dock?
Yeah, or like even when you were going through those pictures, were you talking to anybody, or was anybody talking to you, or? Was it just you?
No. When it was just me in the pictures and the events when I was going through there. And on the dock, I didn't hear anything. The only time I really heard anything was when I was actually coming back.
Right.
Coming to.
So you heard no voices like it's not your time. You just you went through you just went through the experience, and then you're right back in your body.
Yeah. Basically, life flashed before my eyes. I was standing on the dock, wondering what the heck my father was doing. Next thing you know, I'm back in my body. My father's carrying.
Now, did you tell your father or anything about what you experienced, or did you keep it to yourself?
Well, I was so young. It was just an experience, and after you kind of gone that far, it's almost like I had to lay there for I don't know how long and just try to. When you come back, you just feel like crap. You just want to lay there for, I swear, for like an hour. Just breathe as deeply as you can, and just have people leave you alone for a while until you just feel better,
Man.
But
it's just so overwhelming, especially for someone as a young age,
right.
To try to comprehend what happened to you.
Right.
And just, wow. That's
so
incredible.
Did you, I know that you've had multiple. Did you have another one that you wanted to share before Terry called in?
The second one after what was quite intense. That one, my stepmother didn't like me too much and kept me confined to a basement after that. My father had remarried, and she didn't like me too much, and she kept me and my older sibling confined to the basement, and then she basically, I don't know where she was getting the drugs, but I think she was a pill popper. And she kind of forgot about us while my father was, working on the transportation company. And I basically developed rigor mortis. So I was put so far into starvation. And I remember I almost didn't make it to my bed. And after that, it was quite intense. I remember taking my last breath, man. And as I remember hearing from the lady, I think it was a lady before, she said the walls, she was just in a big wide open space. And that's basically what happened to me. I remember taking my last breath, and next thing you know, there was no wall, there was nothing around me anymore. And there was like 4 or 5, 6 white beings on each side of me, doing praying or whatever. And then I was like, well, wow. It's like, geez. And then I looked up and I noticed that there was it looked like an entire network of these beings that were just flying everywhere. And I was so intrigued. I felt like I was actually supposed to go with them. And I started floating past, and I was like, well, yeah, heck yeah, I want to go with. That's a lot of fun. I was like, the only thing I could say is I went and I merged with them. And as I was actually getting up past these other beings, I had a really strong feeling they didn't want me to turn around and look back and see what they were doing. They really didn't want me to look back.
Right. They wanted you to keep going.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went with the other beings, man. And this would be a good time to ask if time seems a little different. And I would have to say, yeah, because I swear I may have only been laying in my bed for 24 hours. And when I came back, I was actually back the next morning. I believe probably about 10, 11 o'clock. I remember sitting up in my bed, and I honestly felt like I was probably gone for about 2 weeks or a month.
Wow.
The only thing I can tell you about time that's on the other side is that it is, and here, this is man-made.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, and what is there? It just doesn't exist. I don't, it's hard to explain, but it's like minutes there. It could be years here.
Right.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That makes any sense.
It does.
I mean,
absolutely.
Honestly, it's like I don't know how you could really comprehend that, but
you can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you can't. But
hey, Astro Kid.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hey,
yeah, I can hear you.
I really appreciate you calling in, man. I read through the blog, read through everything, and I just think it's huge. And what he messaged me, Keith, was he's like, you know what? I want to call in because people need to hear about these experiences. And so, hey, I appreciate you calling in and telling us about your experiences, man. Those are fascinating.
Yeah, you need to write a book.
You are writing a book, aren't you?
Kind of in the process. I mean, I did the blog thing, and that was, quite the adventure. I did 180 or some posts and about my entire life, about everything that went on. So, I mean, it was quite the trip, I encourage everybody to read it. I was told I was supposed to tell everybody, so there it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I'll share it. I'll share it with you, Keith.
Okay.
Yep. Hey, we appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was totally awesome.
Yeah.
I'll continue to pay attention to you guys from now on. I know it's
We're Instagram friends too, so you'll be hearing from me.
Yep.
Heck yeah, sounds good.
All right, thanks, Astro Kid.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too, guys. Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Tina.
Dude, that was fascinating. The void.
That was.
The void, though. And
Do you think it'd scare you if you had one?
Well, I guess it depends. I think it's situational, man. Honestly, you know, like he said, it was like they didn't want him to look back. They wanted him to keep going.
Right.
Right, because it's a situation he was in. Like with Kathy, she was in a desperate situation, but it wasn't her time. She was 16. She made a brash decision that it wasn't ready. Right, so her situation was different. Paul just poppers and then
doing poppers.
Yeah. and then I like how he said that about it felt like everybody in the world was hugging him, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like this sense of serenity. Even like Astro Kid, that second one he had. The first one, he was so young that, like he said, it became blank pages because the book hadn't been written yet, right? He didn't have the pictures.
And most people don't want to come back because, I mean, they said it's just beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
And the other things I haven't heard is like, I always read these stories about there's colors on the other side that they can't describe,
and even sounds
and sounds.
That's why I was asking about sounds and even like vividness, because I've heard about the colors that you can't it's undescribable,
right?
And I also asked him about like, did you recognize yourself? Because some people have these outer body experiences and they don't even recognize what's going on until they see a wedding ring, or like if I saw my weird tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Or some defining characteristic of what was going on. And so that's why I asked him, like, did you recognize himself? He said, no. I didn't even like realize that my dad was carrying me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like his sisters were no longer laying there.
And that shows you just how real that experience is.
Yeah, exactly.
That you think you're in human form watching your dad going, hey.
Yeah, hey, why don't you carry me? Right? Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting. And it goes back to that situational thing, though, where he was a young child. So I don't think that he necessarily needed a voice to tell him to come back.
Yeah.
It's within you as a child to want to be present on earth, right?
Right.
And so, like at that age, at like preschool age, I think is what he said, you don't find preschoolers that are, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I don't think it would necessarily need to be a voice or a feeling, because a lot of people talk about like that it's not actual words. Or if you watch the Oprah episode of 1992 of that boy who said that he saw a wizard, right? Yeah. But it was so interesting in that story is that he said the wizard said, struggle, go back, son. It's not your time, without ever moving his mouth.
Yeah.
So again, it was like this
telepathic.
It was telepathic, right? Yeah. And also the vividness of his memory of it, right?
Right.
For a kid to be in that kind of situation, but to come back and understand that is just, it's baffling, man.
It is. All right, Tina, give us a call.
Tina or Terry.
Our phone line is open just for you.
Yeah.
Tina's been wanting to call.
Tina can call.
So 205-730-6441. I think Mona had put that in the chat, or Jaggy. And Jackie may had to go. I think she was going to be in here just for a little bit.
Yeah, and Terry gave me his number.
I don't know. See, guys, that's why.
You ready for an NDE?
Yeah. Cash App, Cuckoo Jew, PayPal Meet, Key Sharp 101. Let's get Garrett a chair.
Hey,
and then let's do an unbox. We'll do a live unboxing of Garrett's chair.
Yes. Dr. Bruce Grayson, you've been trying to find a way to experiment. Here it is. Beat Keith almost to death with an arm.
Yeah, that's what we talked to get our 1 million views, right?
This is going to be Tina or Terry.
I don't know. What? Life after life, you're on the air.
Hey guys, this is Tina. I have so many stories, I just don't know where to start.
Start at the beginning.
But I would like to start by telling you the story of touching my son's clothes.
Sure.
I brought him home from the hospital and didn't touch him for, it was at least 6 to 9 months after Cody had died. He was only 23.
Sorry to hear that.
It was an overdose, and he was
Sorry.
hooked up on life support. It's okay. September 9th, he was in the hospital, and he left the hospital September 9, 2018. And 2 hours later, he was back hooked up on life support. I had no idea what was going on. Anyways, they said September 11th that your son's brain dead. So, and then September 13th, they removed the plug. And a bunch of stuff escalated and happened. Anyway, I brought the clothes home, and I hope to God his twin brother don't come in here because Cody was always a protector. I really don't want Alex hearing this.
Sure.
I touched my son's clothes. When I touched him, my baby brother had died August 14, 2018. He was there. I seen them telepathically communicating to each other in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
My son kept trying to get in his body. He could not get in his body. And when he seen my brother, he said, "My God, Uncle Jason, thank God you're here." He thought he was dreaming.
Wow.
My brother had to tell my own son, "Cody, you did die. You died, Cody." I seen the ambulance personnel go into my ex-husband's place and get my son's lifeless body putting on the stretcher. It was a woman and a man. I could even describe them if you wanted me to, but nevertheless, I'm going to tell you, they took him out on the stretcher in the ambulance. I was at a hospital. I seen my brother and my son's spirit, ghost, riding in the ambulance. There was a man driver, but there was a man and a woman that got out of the back and came in and got my son's body. They put him in there. I do remember standing in the hospital, and I felt as if it was the God within me. Embrace yourself. They're fixing to bring your son around the corner. As I touched those clothes, I had the flashback, and I seen my son, and I seen my brother, and my brother saying, "Your mom's around the corner." Uh-oh. And all of a sudden, it stopped.
Wow.
But I bought a cross one time at a yard sale, as I was, I had put in the chat. And what happened when I touched this cross, I just wanted to cry.
Mm-hmm.
I felt such sadness. I did not know anything else. So I asked the people around the yard sale, I said, I need to know where this cross came from because I'm feeling a whole lot of stuff from touching it. Come to find out, the woman had breast cancer, and she held on to it very often in her last days. She was not ready to die. So, stupid me, I went ahead and bought the cross. But I knew that I wanted to take it home. I didn't want it at that sale. I just felt like I wanted to protect it and keep it out of the wrong hands. Anyways, we had some issues going on and stuff. Even though my rent was paid, the people in the subdivision did not want us living there, so we wound up getting thrown out. And
oh, man.
My husband had taken off at this time. It was nearly 8 years ago, and took up with a woman and a drug addict, which that's what he is. I've never done drugs. But anyways, we lost all the stuff, and the cross happened to have been in that stuff. And I really, truly fear where that cross is nowadays, because in the event that somebody picked it up and started feeling that sadness, if they do not understand energy, they will believe that sadness is their very own. It could literally drive them mad.
Yeah.
And I have one other story, and I'm going to make it real quick.
Sure.
I already wrote a little story about this, a little book, The Curse of the Gun. My son, when he was young, he went with these people, and they went into this house. I had always been a Christian. I walked with the Lord since 1997, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up Baptist, then I got the gift of speaking in tongues. I've learned a lot about energy, and even more so since the death of my son. I write a lot of different things, but I will tell you, I'm sitting up in my room listening to, praise and gospel music and praising the Lord, and all of a sudden the Holy Spirit says, there's something evil in this house, and it's in the basement. I go down there, and I tell my son, and my son says, uh-oh. He had about 15 people downstairs with him. He said, I told you, my mom's psychic. She feels shit. But you know what they did? They brought a damn shotgun to me.
Oh, my God.
As soon as I touched that bitch, oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
I seen a cop kill a red-haired woman.
Wow.
And I wasn't the only one that felt that. My son Cody's friend, Preston, he touched it. He seen the same thing.
Wow.
Anyway, I made my son get rid of the gun.
Good.
Yeah.
No. Everybody that touched that gun, something bad happened to.
Oh, no.
Oh.
There's
Yeah.
no way you could have known that, though.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I did not know. But I will tell you where it went. All I'll say is that I had it. I knew that we did not want to destroy it by fire. I actually studied how to be a demon exorcist, too.
Mhm.
And people don't realize those things are very, very real.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It's
They're
dangerous to
rampant
play
right
with that
now in the midst
stuff.
of coronavirus and all this other crap, but I won't go there.
Yeah.
But this was placed in a swampy water, and I hope to God
good.
nobody never touches it again.
Yeah. Hopefully it's sunk in the mud and it's buried deep
goodness.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Thank you for having the courage to call in.
Yeah,
I know
that's-
that was difficult.
Yeah, very
But when
much.
I touched my son's clothes, felt what he felt. I don't know. The experience never coming was angry at that. None of that. But from what I son really died September 9th, 20. Things before. There has to be an enormous amount of to it. Somebody held on to something when they died or they were murdered. There's going to be enough energy. I'm going to be able to tell you something about it.
Wow.
And I did find a definition for this thing. It's called psychometry, which is
Yeah.
crazy. I've never studied in any of that stuff, but it's called psychometry.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
Types of it.
I don't know if that's a gift or a curse.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
because I would
I
hate to
don't
have to
know
feel
either,
that
but I will
energy.
tell you one thing. As far as Adelphi,
Uh-huh.
give me that phone that girl was holding on to. If she was holding on to that phone,
Mhm.
and I'll tell you, I would see it.
Well, make sure
Yeah.
you tune in next week with Matt Sullivan, just
Yep,
in
'cause
case.
we're doing a Delphi special next week, actually.
If I had something that they were holding on to or something, as long as the item has not been, some people have brought me stuffed clothing and they've washed it. Guess what? Once they washed it, they washed the energy away.
Right. Right.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it depends on how many other people have touched something.
Right.
Like, say a person was murdered and they were wearing a necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Not very many people touched this necklace, and then the police gave the necklace back to the family. And they says that they still did not know who killed this person. I would be able to touch that necklace and get enough impressions that we could pretty much at least get a damn sketch of who did it.
Wow.
They need to hire you at the
I don't know.
police
Maybe you need to go to Delphi.
Oklahoma. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the police are holding on to all the
Yeah.
like her phone and everything.
Make
all
you a
those,
cop,
yeah,
Tina.
yeah.
But
Have
you know, with this gift, it's also kind of scary too, because you see what the person felt, and my God, my son did not want to go. He had a baby born that day, and I've never even got to see it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you for having the
Yeah,
courage to call in and push
yeah.
the conversation forward.
That was
Tina.
tough, and we're so sorry for your loss, and thanks for sharing that with everyone.
We really appreciate
Life
it.
does go on outside of the flesh. That's
Oh
all
yeah,
I'll say.
absolutely it does.
Spirit does not need flesh.
Nope.
God bless y'all.
God bless you. Thank you again for sharing that story. Appreciate it.
No problem. And I had so many more. My son, I had a dream when he was a little boy, about 950, and I live in a trailer park now.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna make this super fast.
Okay.
An angel brought me 2 hours away to where I live at now. Showed me mobile homes. And then it took me back to where I lived at in Westline, Michigan. I'm in Jackson, Michigan now. But it took me back. The angel disappeared and Jesus is coming down in the sky on a white stallion. And in the dream, I'm saying, somebody's dying. Jesus is coming to get somebody. The angel disappeared but kept saying 950, 950. Do you know they were not supposed to let my son go? He was caught with fentanyl and everything, did 4 months in jail. He was court ordered into rehab. You know, when they got, my son went to rehab, very next day he said, I want to go. They put him on a freaking Greyhound. They bought him a ticket to the cemetery.
Wow.
They didn't protect my son here in Michigan. My son was a felon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, they called me up though. Do you know what time they told me he left?
9:05.
No, they said your son left at 9:50. They did tell me he left at 9:50 a.m. Do you know at that time? I'm going to tell you right now. I about shit my pants.
Yeah.
How the hell?
Seriously.
I'm so sorry.
So much more. We'll talk another time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will. Well,
Keep
Tina,
tuning in. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, and you have a great night, Tina. Thank you for calling.
Okay. God bless y'all.
God
Bye-bye.
bless you. Bye-bye. Wow.
Stuff's intense, man.
It's very intense. It's so hard to share something like that
I know.
on air. And,
Yeah, for sure.
She's got some real courage calling in and sharing that story with us. So you gave me a phone number. Am I supposed to call this?
Man, we got to get Terry in.
All right.
Call Terry.
Now, who's Terry?
He hit me up on Instagram, and he had just posted about NDEs today. He
Okay.
said, and I guess I didn't catch it. He's like, hey, if you want to call me up, do you need your glasses?
No, quit. Quit laughing at my phone. I need someone to help me get this off. You're going to have to help me do
I
that.
don't know how to do it.
Okay, so
push that green button.
Terry, we're calling you. We're calling you now. This is someone from Instagram.
Yeah.
You met. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Terry.
Hi, Terry. This is Garrett and Keith from Life After Life.
You're on the air. Don't say anything dirty.
Okay, well, I'm not going to read you any of my books now.
Hey, where are you from?
I'm up in the Rockies,
Cool.
right outside Aspen. So, pretty
Lucky.
nice. Yeah. So, especially, I started off life, I was thrown in a garbage can. My mother was 13, raped by her father, and freaked out, threw me in a garbage can, and I was found and put in an orphanage. So I've come a long way from there, about 90 miles, because I was born in Cheyenne. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so you can overcome some obstacles. I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. So.
Well, you sent me a message earlier saying that did you post something about NDEs today?
I just sent you a message, about, getting in touch and being here. So, but I didn't tell anything about it. So, and my experiences are, fairly different or dramatically different than some of the people who called in. So, kind of a nice counterbalance.
Do you mind sharing?
All of it. No, there was a time when I didn't see any point in talking about it, but, I'll just break it up two short things. What happened, because I don't remember. It's just what I was told happened, and then what I experienced. So, because I remember nothing at all before this near-death experience. I mean, I have no recollection. It happened when I was 7. And so what I was told from my family, we were, almost, vagrants, living pretty poor. And we were down in New Orleans, and they built the houses off the ground there. It was below sea level and about 3 feet. And so I was told that I crawled under a house next door to where we lived and grabbed onto the joist or whatever, and it was old dilapidated house. And the beam came down, hit me in the head, and I hit the bricks on the ground, and then the beam hit me again. And
so I was living with my, I guess what I would call my grandparents, and my grandmother says she called me, she heard me calling her, which was kind of impossible because when she finally found me, I was like Carrie. I was completely red. Completely covered with blood. I was unconscious. And so she ran down the street with me. Luckily, there was like a public clinic about 3 blocks away. And, they kind of put me on the table, and I was in pretty bad shape. I had this traumatic head injury. So now that's what happened. So I had this traumatic, head injury. My first recollection was opening my eyes, and you see that operating room light. They had one of those, and I saw this little vagabond crew of my family all looking at me and with looks of terror. And this man that I didn't know, I guess didn't know, he was a doctor, and he's saying, "I'm sorry, folks. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry." What had happened is that I saw my family watching me die.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I had no idea, looking back even, I had no idea that that's what it was. But, it was, just something where, I, didn't know what was going on. I had no idea what had happened to me or anything like that. And I just felt horrible because they were so obviously upset and, so much in anguish. So I, want to close my eyes, but I can't close my eyes. So one of the things that, maybe everyone's familiar with is that, like in the movies, wherever someone gets shot or whatever, and someone walks over and they close their eyelids.
Right.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
I was dead. Okay. But I could still, at that point, see. And so I just wanted to scream out, close my eyes, but I couldn't. But somehow in my mind, my eyes closed. And so, that was my first recollection of life, was, just trying to close my eyes and not see something unpleasant. So it just was, very simple. I closed my eyes and I opened them, and I was in a completely different place. And this is where there's a lot of actual kind of theory now about this. I woke up and I was in a place of what I would just simply describe as light. Everything was made out of pure light, including me. I was on a bed, and the sheet was like a sheet, but I could see through it. It was pure light. I looked at myself, and I was translucent. I was light.
Oh.
Yeah, all the walls. It was just a square room. It was just and nothing in it. And then I look, because I'm looking around, and I look, and there's a woman standing there, and she was, I guess what we would call incredibly beautiful. And but I could see inside of her, and the beauty was radiating from within.
Wow.
So I think what I was seeing was a soul, or what we would call an angel, someone who had probably never been a human. And it was, something that maybe I could understand. I kind of look at her. Now, no words are being exchanged. There's no language. But in my mind, I knew everything that she was trying to communicate to me and vice versa. And she just gave me this awareness that I was okay. That's the simplest way of describing it. A sense of well-being that I certainly have never had since. It was, what I would describe as joy. I was experiencing pure euphoria, joy. What I think we all would like to achieve. And I was just very drawn to her, and she sat down on the bed. And that was really an incredible experience, being kind of connected with her, because she, literally, was touching me, and I, for some reason felt thirsty. It was a really strange thing. And so she reaches And out of this light, a table literally like forms, and there's a clear glass, clear liquid, and a clear straw. I mean, that's how translucent and clear everything was.
Wow.
And she gave it to me, and I sipped it, and I swear to God, it tasted just like 7-Up. Okay, it just
I was
really.
gonna say, can I get some apple juice?
Yeah, exactly. So I sip it, and it's just wonderful. I mean, it just cured this thirst that I had, and so I handed it back to her, and she puts it down on the table, but it just dissolves. It goes away, and then she lays down with me, and that goes beyond joy. That goes into a realm of well-being that I can't even describe. I mean, I just
comfortability.
You know, yeah, I just was okay. You know, I mean,
Right, yeah.
total serenity. You know, I mean, so you know, not knowing that I was technically dead, because I was dead for about 15 minutes. Yeah, I mean, a long time. And I was on the table, you know, for about, about 7-8 minutes. Then the doctor drove me to the hospital, and right when I got to the hospital, I kind of resuscitated, so I was out in about 15 minutes. And, so, when she lays down with me, she kind of looks at me, and I just feel everything's okay. And I close my eyes, and then I open them again, and I'm in the same room, but it's kind of, like fluorescent lighting, unpleasant. Mm-hmm. And there's a man standing at the foot of the bed, and he says, "Do you know who I am?" And I actually knew who he was. He was a doctor from, because I don't remember this. He was some doctor that I guess I had been to, who treated me for an ear infection. And I said, you're Dr. Giordano. And he said, who are you? And I said, Terry. And he said, good. And I closed my eyes again. Okay. Then I opened them, and I could not have felt, I was in hell, because I had gotten back to earth.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
for sure.
Right. My whole head was bandaged together. I mean, I was like the mummy. I had a little triangle to see out of one eye, and I had been unconscious, like in a coma, for about 20 days. Okay, wow. So all of that happened, what I just described, over a period of 20 days. But the room I woke up in was the room that all of that had happened in. So, you could, like I said, if you're a scientist, you could say, well, you had woken up during this coma, seen the room, and you were hallucinating and all that sort of thing. And, and I could understand why some scientific people would think that. But it just felt horrible to be back. Okay. So, but I did have the sense from this woman that, you're going to go, basically go back, like other people have said. And that's probably the only common trait, But when I got back, I didn't want to be here. And that's the other thing that most people who go through this, I think, experience, is that they don't want to come back.
Right.
It's not, the same here, So I, somehow recover from this. I had spinal meningitis. I, had, skull fractures, and somehow I survived. I mean, I don't really know why. And I hear the doctors, overhear them, saying that, yeah, he won't make it to 18. And I'm 66 now. So, I basically was being told that I wouldn't live very long. And, it was, a situation where I figure, I got to live life now, because I'm not going to be here that long.
Right.
Once I kind of learned. Yeah. So I found out what happened to me and everything. And I didn't really think that much of it, other than it was a dream. Merrily, merrily, life is but a dream.
Yeah.
I think that's the person who had an NDE who wrote that song.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Because this very much seems like the dream, and that seems to me seems like reality. And it was beautiful. It was ethereal. It was connected to here somehow, and I think that's why it was that way. But so now the punchline. So I didn't know what an NDE was. I didn't know anything about stuff like this because I'm 7 years old and I can't remember anything before this. And I try to explain a little bit to my family, and they go, "Well, you're unconscious and you're dreaming and all that sort of thing." But we lived on the road. We lived in a car. Until I was 13, I basically just traveled around in a car with my crazy. Family, that wasn't really related to. It's a long story. But, it started to be, that we drive along, like, you want to eat or stop maybe to sleep or whatever. And, it would always be like fighting and yelling about where to get off or anything like that. And like, soon after that, when we left, I would start to say, well, the next exit, there's a nice restaurant. Or there's a motel at about 5 exits down the road. I started to be like a road map. I knew where everything was. I knew where we were. So I started to know things I had no possible way of knowing. This is before the internet and GPS and all that kind of thing. But it didn't stop there. It just went into virtually every aspect of life. I'd meet people and I would know what they do. Things I had no way of knowing. So, I ended up with this kind of ability to understand or know things that I have no way of knowing, and that still continues, and able to do things that I had no way of knowing what to do. So I ran off when I was 13, and I needed to support myself, and I started an underground rock and roll newspaper in Chicago. And
nice.
An example, I had my first guitar lesson from Jimi Hendrix. I mean,
whoa.
It was quite a life that I had, because I was able to write like the cover story of Rolling Stone. I'm 13, 14. I went and bought camera equipment when I made enough money, and I knew how to take pictures and develop pictures. No reading books, no training. All these things just became natural. So I think that was kind of a gift that I was given, and the ultimate goal of that was to share information about that we could be whatever we want to be, just like in that room and that table and that glass. If we want that glass, we want that, that liquid, we can do that. And so I've kind of spent my life, writing or, in a number of different ways, kind of, working to empower people to say that you are whatever you want to be. I truly believe that. And so like you guys said, the show, you wanted to have it, you do. We make these things, we are capable of incredible things. Yeah.
We're creators.
That's kind of my take. Yes. We create our reality, and that's kind of what I experienced. And we each do that, and that creates our existence here. And, but a couple of, final thoughts, since waking up, I've had absolutely no fear of anything. I've never experienced pain, physical pain, and doctors have explained that to me. The head injury that I had actually damaged the part of your brain where you feel pain, so that one can be explained away. But but the complete lack of fear, complete lack of death, which is one of the benefits of going through that. And I think one of the first stories you may have heard or I wrote about is, when I was 18, I ended up working for Playboy magazine, believe it or not, because of my photography. Mm-hmm. They hired me.
Oh, God forbid, 19 years old, a photographer working for Playboy.
Yeah. Yes.
Terrible job.
I know. It was a letdown because my rock paper, I'm like going out with
for sure.
Really, I was having a good time. And I just figured, well, I'm not going to make it to 18, so, do everything you can. So I I'm stuck one night with a bunch of people who are drunk and doing drugs, and I didn't use my own car, and I live pretty far away. And it's like 4 o'clock in the morning on a Chicago street, and this is around 1976 or so. And back then, you didn't necessarily have to be afraid, especially me not being afraid of anything or anybody. I decided, there's no buses, there's no cabs, there's no cars. I'm going to, just put my thumb out if I hear anything. So I hear some wheels, and I put my thumb out, and this car stops, and I get in, and I instantly, had this, let's say, sense that I was with, something demonic, something truly evil. And I looked over at the guy, and he was saying, oh, how far are you going? And I said, stop the car. And, I had this way about me where, well, you would stop the car if you were driving. And, but, I was ready to, take him out. Let's put it that way. If he didn't. And so he looked at me, and he looked at me with fear. And I saw him like I saw that woman. I saw a soul, I guess she was what you would say. And it was truly a horrible thing. So I backed out of the car and let him go. And I stood in the middle of the street for a long time, just making sure he didn't come back, So about 3 or 4 months later, rare day where I'm home and want to watch the weather, and the news comes on, and there's a picture of the guy. It's John Wayne Gacy.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And he used to do that, man. Just pick him up.
Yeah. So I'm like at that point maybe like 19 or 20. I'm carrying what was then called a purse. So it's full of my photographic, negatives and proof sheets and stuff. But people back then call it a purse. So he thought I was some young guy looking for action or whatever would fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know who he met. But so that was the first time that I experienced that, I don't have to be afraid of evil. I'm going to let evil be afraid of me. And that has been my life ever since.
I can tell.
So, yeah, now I'm writing about it. That's Demonic Investigator. It's investigating the demonic, and I truly believe that we have both God and the devil in us, because where did Satan come from, if you want to think of it this way? Well, everything came from the Creator. So we're all made of the stuff, and our free will is our ability to decide, what we want to be. And do we want to go the path of the demons and the evil, or do we want to go the path of the light? So now the final metaphor is, think of everything good. It involves light. Growing crops, out in the sunshine, going to the beach, whatever. Think of everything bad. It happens in the dark, bars, drugs, murders. I mean, people robbing, they do it in the dark. It's so easy to understand if you just look at everything and keep your eyes open. So the whole metaphor of evil, being dark, and good being light, come to the light, radiate to the light. That's why I think in NDEs, people gravitate to the light. They're being called to that light because that's the good place.
Right.
And the people who have horrific experiences may have been ones attracted to the darkness. So anyway, that's a very, 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 very long story.
Terry, thank you so much.
Kind of condensed. Yeah.
Yeah, Terry, we're going to have you. We're going to have you back on and talk about the devil and demons.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Maybe have a show about that.
Yeah, because those are things, truthfully, I kind of can see. And I've actually seen some movies where they try to show that. And so I think when you go through this, I'll be walking down the street and I could see kind of what you would call, I guess, an aura around another person. We kind of look at each other. I know that that person's had a near-death experience. It's a club.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
shared experiences, and you could see it. It's enlightenment. And so all of our language is based on this. Enlightened, think about that. So anyway, yeah, I would love to talk about, what happens, in our lives. The choice that we have between good and bad is, I think, amazing and fascinating. And I run into a lot of bad people. I mean, people who are, that John Wayne Gacy level. And, and that was one most people would understand, but I'm one of the few people who got out of his car.
I was going to say, thank God that.
Thank God you had that experience that you came back with that knowing.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the only thing let's say if I'm mad about something about myself, is that I had that complete awareness that this was pure evil. I didn't, really want to have anything to do with it at that time and everything like that. But if I had done something right then and there, like my instincts were telling me to, who knows how many guys would still be alive? And that was my eye opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty young. Yeah. And, but that opened my eyes that, I have this gift and, I better use it. So that's what happened after the John Wayne Gacy event. So anyway, I didn't want to, talk endlessly, because I know you have a lot of people, but.
No, that's fine. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
Yeah, keep in touch with us.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'll be messaging you.
We need to set you up for a show, definitely.
Okay, yeah, that'd be fun. And so I write about it now, which I didn't for a long time, but I'm at an age where, because truthfully, most people do not believe a single bit of what I've told you. And I understand that completely, and, it's just, a good friend of mine, I was telling somebody a little bit, and, the guy went up and told her, that guy is making up all kinds of stories. So later she said, you should be careful about, what you say. And I go like, her name was Barbara. I go, Barbara, I'm telling the truth. And she goes, well, I didn't say, that, what you're saying wasn't true. She goes, I was just saying it's unbelievable. How could anyone believe it? It's one of those things you had to go through. But,
absolutely.
But yeah, so anyway, but I've lived a great life. I've done amazing things, and I think it's all from that. It's a gift,
Absolutely.
Letting loose of fear is a gift. Like, I wish everyone had, nothing to be afraid of, especially dying, I think, so that, as I was reading some of the chats, people were talking about being afraid of dying. And I think most people who go through this, where they're technically, dead, I mean, really, gone, they don't have a fear because, they really did like it better when they weren't, alive. That seems, because I've done a lot of reading, and that seems to be the case. So
I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm afraid of having, for instance, if you get cancer, you have that painful journey that you have to have before you reach
That's what
death.
Mona said.
That's what scares me. Is I have heart problems, so hopefully when God takes me, it'll just be a big heart attack and I'm gone.
I'm gonna get that K2 out immediately.
Yeah, it's that definitely is the case. I think probably most people are afraid of the pain that goes on before death, and the illness, and the seeing the loved ones around you, and all that. But I've worked with a lot of people who are, a lot older and, nearing death one way or another. And it seems like we're kind of built, in our spirit or even genetically or whatever, to kind of accept it and be somewhat okay with it. In other words, it's going to happen. I'm not going to worry about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's something happens within us where we just kind of accept it and are like when you're 35, the idea of dying, like you can't even comprehend it. It's so overwhelming.
For sure.
You can't comprehend
I'm
not
35.
being here. Okay, well, it's just you go into a panic.
Yeah, I got young kids, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm 55, and I think about it every day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's. I think of like dying. There's an old folk song and called cocaine. It says, "Cocaine's for horses, it's not for men. They say it'll kill you, but they don't say when." This is the beauty. We don't know when it's going to happen. I feel bad for people who are told by a doctor, "You've got 6 months to go." I mean, that to me would be horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the anticipation,
having
and
a countdown to your death.
Yeah,
it's funny. I don't know if you heard this, but in one of the stories I told Garrett a couple of weeks ago is I was in high school, and it was the very last day of school, and the teacher said, "Guys, remember, each day you live is one day closer to your death." And I thought, God, what a horrible thing to say to a bunch of seniors in high school.
Yeah, not exactly the thing you'd expect.
No.
Yeah, it's you reach that point. Like even I hate to deliver this kind of news, but 35, you're at the Great Divide. I live right by the Great Divide here. And it's where the rivers change direction.
Absolutely.
There's a point where you're reaching that midpoint, and everything's ahead.
Yep.
And then you get to that point where everything's behind.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
It used to be, I could talk about, I could tell you, how it used to be fun to meet all the hippie chicks and work at Playboy, but that's all, the other side of that.
Right.
But so but like you're saying, 55, that's when you're facing reality. And I just think we're taught from day one to fear that rather than welcome that. And it's very understandable. It's a frightening concept, for people. And so it's the unknown. It's something we don't know. And I love having shows like this where people can talk, because hopefully take a little edge off that fear. Give some hope.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think one important thing it does too, to your point, is when you start to think about that and you get rid of the fear, then you understand the reality of life and death, is that it should open up your heart and your mind to live a little bit more proactively. Right?
Yeah,
instead
absolutely.
of living in this fear. So I think it's a really important point you bring up, and what a fascinating story.
Yeah, I always think about those levels in your life where you think, in your 20s, you think, okay, in the next 20 years, I'm going to do this. Then when I hit 40, okay, the next 20 years, and now I'm at the point where I'm going, wait, there's not another 20 years.
Another 20 years. Hey.
Yeah, wait till you get your first piece of junk mail that talks about cremation, okay?
Oh, God.
Oh, man. You're getting your Medicare age.
I've already had junk mail from funeral planning, that kind of thing.
Oh,
forget about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So,
they started, because we're not a physically healthy society, and they start sending that stuff out to 45, 50-year-old people. It's just they stopped sending it to me. I guess they figure.
Every time I get anything from AARP, it goes in the trash.
Yeah, but I think they have these actuaries who figure out, well, okay, at this certain point, if they haven't responded, there's no point in mailing to them for another 20 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, Terry, I'm going to keep in touch with you, man.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
That sounds great.
Let's set up a show with you.
Show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, Terry. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Okay. Nice talking to everyone out there, too. All right. Thanks.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love that call. Yeah. Uh-oh. You're on the air, live after. Well, I think it was Terry accidentally calling us back.
Did Terry just butt dial us?
I think he just butt dialed us. That was man. That was an interesting phone call, and it's
great, dude.
I'd like to dig a little more in his mind.
Absolutely.
Because as you know, I kind of I've had that thing where I was like, I don't believe in demons and I don't believe in Satan and
right.
But I mean, if someone convinced me, but I mean,
yeah.
It would just be interesting to hear what his take is on all that.
This whole topic has been fascinating.
This show has been awesome tonight, and thank you guys so much.
Everyone calling in, dude.
Everybody's calling. This is what I see. This is what
Astro Kid, Tina,
this is what we envisioned,
Kathy,
right,
bro? Terry.
And I want to thank again Susie and Georgina.
Yep.
For sending us super chats. Thank you so much. And yes, Mona, we'll show you the receipt for the chair. She thinks we're just going to go out and buy beer. We're just going to go out and buy beer with it.
We don't drink beer. We drink liquor.
No. Yeah, we drink liquor. Have a martini.
Yes, a martini.
Something like that. Well, anyway, guys, we went way past, which is fine. It's our show, so we can make the rules, so that's all right. So we are, like I said, tune in next week for the wonderful Matt Sullivan.
Absolutely.
And he's going to give us an update on Delphi, his trip to Delphi, and also I asked him to talk a little bit about Mr. Chadwell.
Okay.
To see what he thinks about him as being a suspect. I think most people don't think he is the guy.
My mom sure hopes it is. She brought it up.
Yeah, it's like I said. I think it's one of those things that we're just grasping so badly to close this case that I hope it's him. And like I said, with the DNA, like what I've heard, it's not real good DNA. I don't know how they're going to catch this guy unless there's a confession, someone turns him in or something like that.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what Mr. Sullivan has to say about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's always got a pulse on something.
He does. Very intelligent guy.
He's a hard worker.
He's obsessed with the case. And, so he digs in hard, man. He looks at every option that it could be. So,
hey, I was going to let everybody know, too.
Mona, yes, it'll be Tuesday unless something happens.
Yes.
Sorry we had to change on you guys.
Yeah,
and
sorry, guys.
Thank you so much for everybody coming in on your Monday night.
Absolutely. Hey, just really fast because I want to plug this.
Okay.
Hey, at life_afterlife_ the show. I think there's maybe an underscore in there. Just type in on Instagram. What I like about the Instagram thing is that I actually get to show people what we're working on the back end of things. So the articles we're reading or the videos we're watching. And so they can kind of be watching that stuff in the lead up and see kind of where our heads are at.
Yeah, it's a great medium for that.
Yeah, it really is.
It definitely has.
Medium. No pun intended.
Yeah, it's helped the show for sure. I mean, you're the younger guy. I don't know anything about Instagram.
I'm just figuring it out.
I have an account. I never even check it.
Cuckoo.
Don't even look at it. Yeah, I know. It is cuckoo. Is it cuckoo?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I haven't looked at it in years.
Hey, great show. Hey, Cass. Make sure that the house is clean for you.
Oh, stop it! What a show!
I'm just messing around.
I know it's funny though.
I do my fair share.
That's funny.
Hey, we love you guys.
We do love you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Great show, Keith.
And great show. Thanks everybody. Thanks again for the super chats, and we'll get that new chair and we'll show you the receipt on the camera, Mona. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.